Welcome. My name is John. I'm a software engineer with about 10 years of experience, and I'd like to help you land your first or next programming role. Let's build some features. So here we are, the Latterly open source roadmap. This is the feature roadmap for the open source Latterly 3 project. Here you can see it on GitHub. And the website is latterly.io, where you can sign up for free. It's not only free, it's also open source. At the basic level, then there are advanced levels starting as little as $1 a month. Includes the advanced checklist to give you more pro tips to improve your job search performance, influence the development roadmap, contribute to the community bounty, and more. And then a free tier where you can get your name recognized through a banner on the website. This is one of the things that we're hopefully going to be able to develop today if we have time. So the features we're working on today, first and foremost, public profiles. Before I can give you a banner and a shout out, you need to have a profile, and then I'll be able to shout out that profile. So public profiles, Hall of Fame, shout out rotation. If we have time, we likely will not get this far, but a stretch goal would be the about page in a better 404. So here we can see the page cannot be found. It would be nice to have a header and a footer, a return to home button, a quick link to the login, something like that. Any of those options would be better than this 404. So here I have the localhost spin up. We'll get to the code shortly. And then the about page will help with SEO. So we've had Google Analytics installed for a little while, a couple weeks now. And yeah, it's doing all right, but there is lots of room for search engine optimization. There's just not a lot of public content on the website is the main issue. So we have this blog, but the blog only has one article. So an about page and more blogging would improve Google searchability and other search engines. All right, y'all, thanks for joining. Will you do my sake? Like the alcohol, like the Japanese drink? Probably not if you're just making sake. Okay, so let's dive in. The issue with the public profile, by the way, public profiles already exist under the current pull request. So here is the init public profiles pull request. It's in draft. It's passing now, so I can probably convert it out of draft. It was failing. That was why it was initially in a draft state. I don't like people to review my pull requests when they're still failing. It's like a waste of time. Will you review my site, misoenergy.org? Maybe after the stream. Let's see. Yeah, maybe after the stream. So the issue with these public profiles is that, first of all, I don't think they look great. Here, let me see. We'll go to mine. Community. John. I'm also noticing an improvement right here. Under community, we could drop down and go directly to my profile. That would be nice. Or a link to go to my profile. Let me know in the chat if you have a preference where I should put it. Should I put it in the nav bar, go directly to my profile? Should I put it under community or under settings? At first glance, I think a drop down under the community that goes directly to my profile. And it's missing the header, it's missing the footer, it's basically missing style. And also, this user has not completed any checklists is incorrect. So these are the things we want to fix before we ship it. So if I go to my if I go to my standard checklist, we should be able to see, I think if I'm not mistaken, I completed this checklist, right? So this is the first issue we'll fix right now. The first issue is that although I've completed the checklist, I don't get recognition on my profile for completing it. And I think we'll do the community drop down to my profile as well. This seems like not an ideal user experience. It's more clicks, and it's also, from an information architectural point of view, it's indirect because it's like, who even are these people? I know that I'm John, but like there could be a bunch of Johns, right? And that would be confusing. So let's do those two things. Let's do the mutation first and the drop down second. So when I go to my checklist, every time I click one of these things, we can see in the network tab, I'm invoking a checklist update mutation, a user checklist update mutation, to be more precise, which is the intersection of a user, namely the current user, myself. Update user checklist item. There are the generic checklist items, which is sort of the template, and then there are my saved versions, which hold the state about whether or not I've completed them. So we run this mutation, but this mutation is never confirming whether the whole checklist is done. That's the step that's being missed. Update user checklist item. I'll go to VS Code here, Control P. Update user checklist, and there we can see I found, here it is, Command A, C. We're just going to go over to ChatGPT and ask it to fix it for us. Consider the following checklist item update mutation. We can do a role task here. Role, we are expert TypeScript developers. Context, we are building a blitz.js website that helps people learn to code and land a programming role. Task. We want to provide the schema. So here I will look under the schema file for Latterly 3. I will find the I could look under the user. Let's do both. I'll give the user schema and the user checklist and the checklist. So I'll provide all these schema fragments, which is really probably more than necessary, but better safe than sorry. Also consider that this Prisma schema fragment. Oh, by the way, you can go over to YouTube. If you're on TikTok right now, you can go over to YouTube and see the full screen. What auth do you use for Express apps? So I haven't used like my own auth in Express in a while. I like the auth that comes for free with Next and Blitz. But OAuth is great. Express OAuth providers. I used Iron Session back in the day. It's been a long time. I would look for something with OAuth. I don't know. Whatever information I have is probably out of date. So LogRocket is trustworthy, so maybe read through this. Yeah, I don't know. I've never used this, but maybe Node OAuth 2 server is a solution. Thanks for the, what is that, a heart and a whole bunch of stuff. Thank you so much, Nick. GoTech, thanks for the follow. Okay, let's also consider this Prisma schema fragment. So we drop the user model. We need to provide some other models. We want the user checklist. Let's do the checklist item and the checklist. This may be, and that should be all we need. This may be a bit much for one prompt, but we'll see. I'm going to grab the file name here, right click, rename, Command C, click away. I'll rephrase. Task is consider the following, and we'll give it the technical name. And now later I can say update, so I can just refer to it this way. Update the user checklist item so that it also marks the entire user checklist as complete if the user checklist item update would result in completion of all checklist items under the user checklist. That was a pretty good prompt. Something seems to have gone wrong. Okay, I'm actually not mad that it went wrong because I can slightly improve this prompt by asking it to give me clarifying questions if it has any. Let me refresh the page. And let me also, okay, I'm using the code interpreter. So I'm pasting all of this. Ask questions as needed to clarify the request. Cool. Something seems to have gone wrong. Maybe the prompt is too large. So what I can do is I can break it up. I can provide the Prisma fragment in one pass and execute the remainder of the prompt in a second pass. Here I'm going to use an online notepad tool, really just so that I can have a place to paste this. Okay. I will go over to ChatGPT. I will edit my prompt, Command A, backspace, Command V. I'm going to delete all of this stuff. I'm going to say, consider this so this will be the task. We are expert TypeScript developers. We're building this Blitz app. Consider the Prisma schema fragment. I will ask you to make a code change after you read this these Prisma models. Let me know when you are ready for the coding task. Get this on my clipboard in case something goes wrong. We'll save and submit that. It still went wrong. Here I'm going to trash the current chat. I'll make a whole new chat. Is ChatGPT down right now? We can do this ourselves if we need to. %99.8% up today. Let me control inspect. We can go over to the network tab and see, is the request still too large? Maybe the network will tell us if the server is saying that it's too large. I noticed that a bunch of these new chat things just popped up. That was not expected. August 3 version. Maybe we have a new version of ChatGPT here. So I'm submitting this. Conversation went 404. It literally just says something went wrong. Okay, cool. We're going to do this the old school way, y'all. It might also help if I okay, I'll try one last thing, which is just logging out and logging back in. I don't think this is going to fix the problem. It seems like they have something going on. That's okay. We'll do one last try here. Yeah. Maybe whatever's going on is specific to the code interpreter. So I generally don't like working with 3.5, but we'll give it a chance. And if it fails, we'll be over in VS Code anyway, and we'll just pick it up there. Consider the following update user checklist item.ts. So we're going to grab all this code. update this so that it updates the entire checklist if needed. Try it using a sample code to see if it works. Use Claude. No, Claude makes a bunch of syntax errors. Bloodstone says, I have been having error with ChatGPT. Was it just today? Is it just having an issue today? Because it wasn't giving me an issue like yesterday. Firebase auth is easy. Yeah, I don't recommend Firebase personally, but if it works for you, good deal. So we'll grab this. I'm going to paste it, Command AVS, and I'm going to look at the diff, and we'll go line by line. So it retains the initialization of the pipe as it was. User checklist is possibly null. I'll pass this to, I mean, this is just a null check basically, but we'll see if it can fix that. Okay, other than the fact that it could be null, if all items are complete, update the check. So great, it's doing the right thing here, but there's two things wrong with this. One is it could be null. The other is it's always making this call. This is not necessary. This every does not need to be called every time, because I know if this particular checklist item is not done, definitely they're all not going to be done, right? So I don't need to call this every time. Let's grab this, AVS. So what is it doing now? It's simply saying if user checklist, great. It's basically just a null check. I want it to like throw an error instead of fail silently if the user checklist is not found. Instead of silent or like throw an error if the user checklist is not found. This is chain of thought. We're giving it one small bit at a time. This improves performance. I could have told it like all the things I want it to change at once, but instead I'll do one by one. The other change I'd like it to do is consider the fact that I do not even need to check the completeness of other checklist items if the current or initial item is not complete. Add this short-circuiting logic. Let's see what it says. You're absolutely right. Oh, great. Isn't that great? Data is complete. So this would be the data coming from the pipe initializer. If there's not a user checklist, we throw. I guess I don't have a strong opinion about the order here, but I would think, yes, I do. Yes, I do. This check should go before the user checklist because I don't even want to find unique if the data is not complete. Whatever. This is good enough that we've gotten our sort of productivity benefit from working with ChatGPT, and I can clean up the remaining bits myself. So here, we'll put this above get the associated user checklist. If not data is complete, return checklist item. I would like to phrase this differently. I would like to say if the data is complete, then we do all of this stuff because we're going to return checklist item in any case, and that's down here at the bottom. So I'm putting this inside a sort of ginormous if condition. Okay, let's get rid of a bunch of these comments. We don't really need these comments. Okay. This is going to get the user checklist and it includes the checklist items. Okay, I was thinking about a possible performance optimization where I skip looking up the checklist and I just looked up the checklist items directly. Because my current checklist item, I have the ID right here. So I can just go right to the checklist item table. It's still a possible performance improvement. I don't think there's an index on that table. I might need to create an index on that table to get the performance benefits. But the way that this is working, it's like a micro optimization. This totally makes sense. This totally makes sense. Because I need this entity eventually anyway, so that I can mark it. I can mark it complete. By the way, I also want to be able to mark it not complete. Not complete. Because what if it was complete and then I uncheck one? Then it should no longer be complete, right? If it was complete and then I uncheck one, so the else condition here, there needs to be an else condition basically. Bagashwar says, hello on YouTube. Thanks for being here. What ORM are you using? The answer is Prisma, and that's built into Blitz.js, which is the whole stack that we're using. So here I'll go back to GPT. I will say update the below mutation to solve the to-do Mark says, thanks. You're very welcome. Thanks for the question. Thanks for being here, Mark. So we look in this else block. I'm just going to take this else block only instead of the whole thing. That's it. That's all there is to it. I feel like I might be able to, you see how the expressions here are similar? Await DB user checklist update. I feel like I might be able to sort of extract those into a common block, but again, feels like a micro optimization. This is pretty readable in my opinion. I don't like how these resolver pipes in general are initialized. So I don't really consider that signature super readable. I would prefer if it was like const foo. It just looks like a function. Unfortunately, that doesn't comply with the Blitz. It doesn't comply with Blitz. Blitz is unable to parse it if you do it that way. So let's forget about the readability of that. But the interior of this method here, this is really readable. You know, the checklist item is, hey, let's update it with the new data. That's it. You get a user checklist item. Maybe I could rename this thing to be user checklist item. That would be a bit clearer. Let's see if it's referred to as checklist item throughout. I do want to do that. That's an improvement. Because it's not a checklist item. Those are different entities. It is a user checklist item. Okay, we'll keep going through, just making sure it's all readable. If it's complete, I can add a comment here. Checked to see whether the whole checklist, the whole user checklist is now complete. So that kind of declares what we're going to do, and then we proceed to do that. We get the user checklist. If it's not there, we throw an error. If they are all complete, we mark it as complete. Should I put an else case here that marks it as false? The answer is no, because it will already be in a false state. It will already be in a false state, so we don't need to explicitly handle that case. Good. Does he code anything, or is ChatGPT doing the whole thing? LMA, oh, you got me. Nice profile pic. We love Spider-Man. Quick reminder, you can go over to YouTube, link is in my bio, and see the full screen. So here we are. Let's give this a functional test now. I'm going to uncheck an item here and check it. Let's look at the update user checklist item. The response is unchanged. That's basically just a regression check. I could pass the whole checklist if I want. I don't see the need for it at the moment. But when we go to the profile, now it lists completed checklists. Good. This is giving the checklist ID. I would rather it give the name and version. So let's commit what we have, and then we'll go improve that other page. So here's the feature. Update user checklist completeness. Update user checklist completeness. Okay, right click, close all, and I think this is going to be the settings page. Oh, this is the community page. Okay, Command P, community. And we want this, you see the file name here uses brackets. That is because it's a parameter, and then I can use params. This is how the Next framework and the Blitz framework allow you to pass a user ID into the route. So because we're under the pages directory, pages community, and this dynamic file name, that maps to this route here, community/1. So the ID will be passed, and that is the particular user that we're talking about, which in this case is me, but it could be any user that has a public profile enabled. Get user, this should already have the logic in here to filter out public profile, has public profile enabled. So we're only selecting users that have a public profile enabled. Or even if the profile is not enabled, if it is your profile, then I think you should be able to see it. So let's go give a test over here. What happens when I put 2? I'm expecting to see an error. What happens if I put 20? Has public profile enabled false, then we should throw user not found. But I'm not seeing an error on my console. So this is not what I want to see. I don't want to see like an empty profile. I want to see basically a 404. That user was not found, or you do not have permission to see it, sort of thing. So I want to see a 404. Cool. We need to update this. By the way, what value of user is returned over here? Get user, it's returned error null. It's returned error null. Okay, so let's update this get user query to return a 404 Blitz.js response to the client. Not found error. Great. Now let's see what happens. Get user is still returning error null. Something is wrong here. All right, let's go to the docs. Chris Yates, what is this project using for a backend? Right here, Blitz.js is a full stack framework. So the backend will be the Zero API layer, it's called. Zero. Oh, it used to be, they bragged about it on the front page, but I guess not anymore. Type safe API layer. So they're not using that zero keyword anymore. It's similar to React Query or TRPC, basically. Thank you for the follows. Let's see, we got follows from T-Mac Picture, Tulock, Dunedane Smithy, Diego. Thanks very much, all. Hey, you can go sign up for the website for free right now. Link is in my bio, latterly.io. There's a Discord. Link is at the bottom. Would love to see you at the Discord after the show. And do consider signing up. It supports the whole community. By the way, if you sign up while the show is ongoing, and if you let me know in the chat or whatever, then I can put you on the shout out rotation. So that feature doesn't exist yet, so you won't have a setting where you can like opt in. But if you let me know in the chat, then I can opt you in. Maybe this is off base. Can you or someone please advise me how to get an app made? Yeah, I don't think that's off base. We love talking about coding here. Are you asking about building an app yourself, or are you asking about paying someone to build an app? Because I see you say, I've also heard it's about 10K. You can definitely pay someone to build an app for 10K. I mean, it can't just do anything though, right? It's going to depend on your particular requirements, the complexity and time to implement those requirements. I would recommend you join the Discord and we can chat about it after the show. Alternatively, you can book a session with me one-on-one and we can go through the details and I can get you an estimate or refer you to other people or whatever you prefer. Jay says, have you used IntelliJ with Spring and Maven setup? I'm having issues with dependencies. I have. That was one of the setups I used when I worked at Amazon. And yeah, it can be tricky, can't it? Maybe you would also benefit from a one-on-one call. Thanks for being here, y'all. Okay, back to the Blitz.js documentation page here. What we're looking at, we want to see if the not found error usage has changed since the GPT knowledge cutoff. So ChatGPT is trying its best to help us out, but it's using an old version. Oh, look at this. It's talking about Blitz RPC now. I think that's because it's getting that from my code, so it's understanding that there's been an update. But when it was trained, the knowledge cutoff 2021, there was actually a different API. So this library at blitz.js/RPC did not exist in 2021. There was a different package that was the alpha version, which was just from Blitz.js. So the API has changed. So we want to make sure that it's being used properly. Not found name status code, great. This is just being imported from Blitz, so maybe we're importing it from the wrong place. These authentication errors are being handled in the UI. I'm trying to do something in the query. Use query error reset boundary. Interesting. Handling server errors on the client, right? That's good, but that's a later step. First, I need to make sure the error is being passed from the server, which it doesn't appear to be doing. Here we are in get user. The error is null. So the issue is that we say if there's not a user, throw, but there is a user. So this is the issue. Why is there a user object? Oh yeah, probably because there is a user ID. Let me do 2000. And that, yeah. So there is a user ID 20. They just have not enabled public profiles. So that's the reason this is happening. So if there's genuinely not a user found, we get the 404. But what about this case? Do I want to throw 404 or do I want to say like this user? It's actually an authorization error in that case. If user and what will I say here? You can always see if it's yours. If you're the self, then you can always see it. I will render differently in the UI. Okay. Has public profile enabled. Then we will consider this an authorization error. Throw new authorization error. This user has not enabled, you do not have permission to view this user data. Cool. Cool. So now I'm getting the 403. Even for myself, which is 1. Let me disable this in the database. So I am enabled to public profiles, but what I would like to test is that even when it's disabled, I can still see my own. That's what I want to test here. So you can't see this, it's off screen, but in the database now, I'm going to my own user. And what column is this? Has public profile enabled. Oh, it's not letting me edit it. Okay, I think I need to refresh my connection over there. Is this VS Code? Yep, we were using VS Code a moment ago. And we will again soon. Okay, so now, boom. So I've disabled my own public profile. Now what we want to test is that if it's my ID, I can still see it. So here I'll bring in the context. And I'll just create a Boolean, const is own data. And this will be the Boolean result of this expression. Okay? And now I should be able to see my own data. Cool. So I can see it again. Even though my public profile is disabled, I can still see it because it's mine. For full stack, what should I learn for backend? Next.js. Thanks for being here, Kirito. Hope you've been well. Hey, I think you're signed up for the website already, right? Oh, you know, does this one talk about backend? Full stack. I guess I don't come out and say it here. Yeah, so in 2023, when you learn React, you should be building a Next.js app. So learn React. Where's like the new project starter? So this is the official docs. So the checklist tells you that you should learn React, right? But I don't necessarily say that you should use Next, but you should. Not your first component, your first app. Oh, this thing doesn't collapse? That's bogus. Quick start. Installation, start a new project. Yep, here you go. So when you start a new React project, the way that you do that these days is with Next. And Next is a full stack framework. So I can spell it out. I guess I should spell it out here that you should be learning Next specifically. But it's kind of like included in the fact that like you should be learning React. Projects. I've built 4 portfolio projects. Oh, no, I do say it. I say a Next blog. It's admittedly not super clear. Okay, well, we can clarify that. What do I say in my advanced checklist? Is the advanced checklist clearer? Full stack development experience with TypeScript, but I still don't really specify Next.js. Okay, yeah, I will specify Next.js. Let's add an issue here. Robert says, I'm torn on what field of tech I want to get into. They're throwing money left and right. Yeah, I don't think it matters too much, does it? Kirito says, so only Next for the backend, no Node, SQL, etc. What do you mean Node SQL? Is that a library? Node SQL? Okay, is this what you're talking about? Yeah, I've never heard of this thing. I absolutely would not recommend this. They're using var. Like, how old is this? This is like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago. Yeah, don't use this. Sorry, forgot the comma. Oh, that's like a false dichotomy, Kirito. So if you're learning Next, you're going to be using a little bit of Node, but you don't want to like dive in head first to Node and be doing things like, file system operations and all of the sort of complicated low level things in Node. You want to do one step at a time. And so you want to start with Next because you already know JavaScript, you already know front end world. Next is going to build on those mental model to have you learning a bit of the back end. So I would definitely start with Next, and I would not, no. You can learn SQL later, and it'll be useful. But I wouldn't go study what does SQL even mean? So SQL has so many dialects. Like my first SQL language was Microsoft SQL, Access SQL. And this is a terrible idea. Like, this is not what you should be doing. What you should do is you should start with a concrete problem and you should solve that problem. And if you're building a Next application, if you're building a React application, and if you want a backend, the high return on investment, small step where you can get a lot of bang for your buck, you can unlock a lot of features with very little code change, very little mental model change. The best way to achieve that goal is through Next. And this is not just me saying that. This is like the official React docs, right? So the question should be, hey, I'm using Next. What database do I need? You see the mental model? You should say, I'm using Next. How do I get access to a database if I need one? Don't just make a problem for no reason. Don't just try to connect to a database without a reason. You want to solve a concrete problem. So in the case of Latterly.io, the problem that we're solving is we're helping people learn to code. We have these checklists and so on. You want to actually be solving a problem. In the checklist, I recommend you start with a blog. And there's a bunch of reasons for that. Basically, this is a full stack. This is well understood by employers. People know what you're building. They know the purpose of it. It has a clear purpose. And also you're building on a vanilla JS blog, so you're recycling a pet project, so you already understand the business requirements. The idea is to learn the minimal amount needed to take the next step. Does that make sense? So the MERN stack is my best bet. No, 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 no. No. The MERN stack is not. So MERN stack is going to use Express and Mongo, right? So if you're using Next, you don't need to use Express. Next is already full stack. So this is a different stack than Next.js. Your best bet is create Next app. I mean, you can go learn the MERN stack if you want to. It's definitely not what I recommend. Mongo, I'm not even a real fan of the Mongo database at all. This is a closed source database. It has a bunch of its own special wrinkles. You're not learning SQL, by the way. If you think MERN stack is going to teach you SQL, no, it won't. Okay, I understand now. Thank you. Learn something new every day. All right, great. Feel free to drop by the Discord if you have any more questions after the stream. After the stream, we can always chat about it. Jason says, my MERN stack bootcamp taught us SQL. Awesome. MV says, I thought MERN was dead since 2020. It's a very, very slow death. Thanks for the likes. We're over 25K likes. Usernames are for suckers. I prefer Express, Node, React with Postgres and SQLize. That's fine. There's nothing particularly wrong with that stack. Um, yeah, that's sort of the choose your own tools and assemble them yourself approach. Heyman Lock W. God, these CS influencers are insufferable. Good chat. Ligma. So funny because my friend told me to learn Mern just yesterday. Yeah, I mean, you can do a lot worse, but you can do a lot better. So, oh, quick reminder. YouTube, link in my bio if you want to see the full screen. Cool, so here we are. And what am I doing now? I'm looking at my public profile. By the way, I'd like to have that drop down, which lets me quickly get to my own public profile. I'm not anymore listed here because I've disabled public profiles, but I can still get to my own. Was PhD Econ a good use of your time and effort? If I died tomorrow, it would have been a poor investment, but I'm trying to sum value over the course of my life. So we will see. What DB do you recommend? It depends on the use case, but I think a good starting point is Postgres. SQLite is also pretty good if you want to do kind of a toy project. Kirito, off topic, but what do you think about Angela's Udemy web dev course? I don't know who Angela is, so I couldn't comment at the moment. I mean, I can go over to Udemy. In general, Udemy is already second rate. Like, if you look at, so here's my blog, or one of them. And I talk about the job outcomes, the labor outcomes from online courses. They're just not very good. So, there's a chart in here. Here's Aline Lerner, co-founder interviewing.io. Here is the chart. So like why are you going to Udemy at all? Coursera would be better. Coursera would be better. Your profile doesn't have YouTube link. It does. So here's my profile. So if you go to my profile, this is what you'll see. And that button right there is a YouTube link. And here's the website, Laterally. You can sign up for free. If you have any questions at all, come by the Discord and we can chat about it after the stream. So anyway, in general, Udemy is like not a good way to go. You want to go Coursera, and I would recommend the Meta Front-End Developer Certificate. So this is kind of like the best online course these days, as far as I'm aware. The problem is that being the best online course is not a big flex, because online courses in general are not a good way to learn. So the statistics for this course are something like 25% job placement rate, something like that. But it's still a very good course. How about Azure certs and Cisco certs? Oh gosh, let's not get into a whole cert discussion, y'all. The advice in this, like, read this article. It's systematic advice. You can apply it to any certification. So instead of talking about 5,000 different certifications, just read the article, and it gives you generic advice. You can come by the Discord after the stream, and we can talk about particular certs. Basically, no one is breaking into tech with an Azure cert. If you already have a programming role, it could help you up level if you're specifically interested in working in the Microsoft Cloud. For most people, that's going to be a bad idea. You're going to want to go with AWS Cloud over Microsoft Cloud, but there's special cases like, I don't know, maybe if you work at Microsoft or you work for a Microsoft partner. So there's cases where Azure certs are useful, but in general, that's like B team stuff. User633, thanks for the follow. Quick reminder, you can go over to YouTube, link is in my bio, and see the full screen. Okay, let's fix the UI here. This is not particularly attractive, is it? Actually, first I want to commit this. So what are we committing? So the feature is 404 if public profile disabled. And actually, that's 403. 403 if public profile is disabled, and 404 if they don't exist. So what am I doing now? Well, we did want to have a link to get to this page, but first we want to make this page look pretty. First, we're making the page look pretty. So what I'm going to do here is go to the one of the pages that I would like to model after. This one kind of, you see how it has this top area. Really, the blog is best. So this is the real header and footer that I have in mind most of the time. So I'll go to the blog index, Command P, blog index. We're going to grab all of this. And let's see if GPT-4 is working yet. I'll just say hi. Okay, so GPT-4 is not working. So we're still going to deal with 3.5. It might screw some of this stuff up. We will see. How do I want to phrase this? Consider this existing blog index page. We want to create a new, we want to update a different page to include a similar top navigation, footer, and Tailwind styles. Let me know when you are ready to see the other page. Do you worry about supply chain attacks building anything node-based? No, I don't worry about supply chain attacks. Are you a back-end dev? I guess you could say that. I mean, my day job, I work on the back end all day, but this is full stack. Oh, he's full stack. Yep. What is the framework or library you are using for this? The answer is Blitz.js. Blitz.js. Which is a wrapper around Next, which is a React framework. Okay, so we gave it this page. Now we want to give it, here's the top nav content. Now we want to give it this page. Here's the other page. It is a user profile page. Cool, so we'll grab this AVS, inspect the code diff by clicking right here. We can see it brought in the home styles module. Now we have this container style and the main style. it brought in a nav, top nav content. This is very good. And then there's the footer. By the way, there are some beginner-friendly issues on the repository if you want to contribute, since this is open source. And one of those is making the footer generic. So you see how we're repeating the same boilerplate over and over? So you could easily extract a footer component. So feel free to submit a pull request. Is this open source on GitHub? Yep. Yeah, so the link is right here. And you can also get there through my bio or through the website. Like if you visit the website, you can just go to the bottom and here's the GitHub link. And it's this Vanderveer Laterally 3 is the project. And we're working on this pull request currently. Her curriculum is too expensive and she only touches on the few A topics. Are you talking about the Angela person? Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Hey, Laterally is as little as $1 a month. So come and join in. Come and join in. You can influence the content yourself. ChatGPT isn't this helpful when I ask. Well, you got to know how to ask, right? So the second item in the checklist is watch search techniques for coding. And this includes some prompt techniques. So if you go here, 3 basic prompt engineering techniques. So you can't just ask it anything. You got to know how to ask, right? Make sure you follow the YouTube channel. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can make partner. That'll be great. Let's help everyone learn to code. You can like the video, share it, spread the information, y'all. A lot of comments. Thank you so much. I'm trying to answer the questions, but there's a lot of them. If I don't get to your question, please do come to the Discord. You can ask on the Discord after the show. You can leave a comment on any of my videos on any platform, whether that's TikTok or YouTube, etc. And just thanks so much for being here. I appreciate y'all's time. Some guy says, I'm a professional dev. We do use React for some things, but always concerned when it comes to NPM. Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. So this is like still a very small project. I think my MAUs are at like 50. For a standard commercial app, you're going to care a lot more about security. And this is openly in an alpha state, by the way. This is openly in an alpha state. So in a commercial setting, you're going to want to have like Artifactory or some sort of library safety layer, basically a library safety layer over pip or npm or whatever. JFrog Artifactory is an example of such a safety layer. Like this project doesn't make any money. I'm paying money to host this thing. So I'm not going to pay more money for the JFrog Artifactory. That's like, it doesn't make any business sense at this point. That being said, if you want to help me, get 1,000 more monthly active users and they're paying, yeah, we can be more serious and more safe for sure. Drew says, how long have you been a developer for? Found you on TikTok. Hey, good to see you, Drew. I've been a software engineer for about 10 years. User 606, was it difficult to convince recruiters and employers that you are a programmer with Econ ACAD? I guess that would say academia. The answer is, it was difficult to an extent. Well, it's not like it was 0 difficulty. It's not like it was 100% difficulty because I succeeded. So there was some level of difficulty. But I didn't really have to convince them that my econ degree is a programming degree. Like, that's not how the conversation went at all. The way the conversation went was Look at my open source portfolio. I know how to code. Look at my certifications. I know how to code. I passed the interview. I know how to code. That's how the conversation went. I didn't have to convince anybody that my PhD was useful for programming. That's like not how the conversation went at all. It was more just like, hey, this is like a smart guy that knows how to research, right? So the PhD was kind of icing on the cake, if you will. Is Latterly mainly for the Canadian market? No, there's a different company. There's a totally different company called Latterly in Canada. Oh my gosh, dude, did they jack my icon too? Oh my gosh. So these top two are me. By the way, the Teachable site is getting deleted soon. So the story is that I had this Teachable site and I got hundreds of people signing up, right? But I was on the Teachable free tier. And then Teachable said, hey, like, we are hard on money. Like, Teachable is hard on money. So they are raising their price rates. And they basically canceled my free tier. And they started asking me for money. And so then I was like, no, I'll just make my own website. So that's the backstory for how this got built. This latterly.ca is a totally different thing. And I think, is this a new domain for them? They're like a completely different company. So I don't know. Maybe they're great. Look, they got 5 stars, 34 Google reviews, Calgary, Alberta. I've never been to Canada. So, and I think they're just like a resume review. I don't know. We provide mentorship, career coaching, high-level resume reviews. Okay, well now they're expanding. I don't know. That's not me. So hope they seem to be doing a great job though. So great. Suggestion, can you maybe add a bullet point on tech stack we will learn before the checklist? Maybe add a bullet point on tech stack we will learn before the checklist. Yeah, maybe like a summary, like a summary line or something that's kind of like the overall approach, summarizes the overall approach. The problem is that I need to figure out how to word this. I'll think about it. It's a good suggestion. So the problem is that I suggest a minimal tech stack. I don't want to box you in and say like, you know, this is the only thing that you can learn, because if you look at the Capstone project, you're more than welcome to try out like Gatsby or something else. You can do a MERN project if you want to. Like, that's all well and good. So there's more to the course than just learning a tech stack. But maybe I can summarize the whole strategy. I'll try to figure out how to word that. Do you use a MacBook to code even Microsoft technology like SQL Server? So first of all, I don't write SQL Server. And it's in my opinion, it's kind of a code smell. If you find yourself writing SQL Server, you should ask what's going on in 2023. But also the answer is no. Like, I have Mac machines and Windows machines. Yes, because the tech stack kind of gets lost in the checklist. Example, Next got lost. Yeah, I hear you on that. So I'll try to think about what I can do. Comments are welcome. Arkinum says, what? That's wrong. What is wrong? Okay, so what we're doing here is, checking out the user page to see how it looks now. Oh, interesting. So this is 500. I don't want to see this. Let's go back to the get user. Get user. If it's not an integer, there's a problem. All right, good to see y'all coming over to the Discord. Argument of type number is not assignable to parameter of type string. Well, we're telling you it's a number, but it has come in as a letter, hasn't it? Is that better? Okay, now what happens now? I want to see a 404, not a 500. A 403, oh, because I did authorization error. Oops. Not, this should be the not found error. Cool. Are all sequels the same enough? It depends what you mean by enough. All DBs are not the same. They have their own use case. Yeah, there's a bunch of differences between SQL dialects. I think it depends on what you mean by enough. What is the range of pay for senior SWE in Virginia or Texas? I've seen seniors earn 80 grand a year, and I've seen seniors earn 500 grand a year. So I think that's kind of the range. Cool, so this is looking good. Let me check this small change in sort of discreetly. So this will be a feature, validate user ID is an integer. Why do parse int instead of number? I don't really know. Compare parse int versus number in JavaScript. I feel like I've had trouble with JavaScript, but I can't say what specifically the trouble was. It preserves the decimal as part of the result. So there's one reason not to use number. Let's see. Maybe that's a reason to use number. 123 dot something something. So I get a 500 here too. Maybe I should use a number. Let's keep looking. Oh, the number null returns 0. This is why I don't use number. So this is the reason that I don't use number, basically. Parse int null is not a number. Number null returns 0. That has given me so much trouble. Oh, and number true is 1. This is the reason. That has given me so much trouble in the past that I just never use number. And the other reason is that I'm specifically looking for an integer. So this is called idiomatic and semantic. This is idiomatic and semantic code. I'm interested in dealing with an integer, not a general number, i.e. I don't want a decimal. And so for these reasons, I use parse int. I can add one more check over here. Ooh, actually I can do a better check. How do I check that it's not a decimal? If it's equal to itself. So instead of checking not a number, I can just check if it's equal to its own parsed integer representation. Let's see if this works. This might still not work because when it comes in as a route parameter, it's a string type. So here, oh, and I want to say not equal to. So here, I should get a 404 now. Okay, good. So decimal is 404ing. What about the letter A? It's 404ing because the string letter A is not equal to, is not exactly the NaN representation. What about the number 1? That's good. What about the number 3? User not found is not what I want to see. Okay, okay. Well, okay, there really is not a user ID 1. That's fine. So this seems to be working even better. All right. Feet. Better validation that accounts that avoids 500 on decimal route param. Cool. Are you employed today? Yep. Yeah. This is not my day job, by the way, right? This is the weekend. This is like a side project. You need to add data validation in the front and back end. Yep, we have it. Tried going to Discord, got an error with the link. That happens a lot on TikTok, unfortunately. I'm so sorry. Like, if you know what to do about that, please let me know. So TikTok like doesn't want you to leave their little TikTok app. So for a lot of people, it will like, when you tap the link, it will block you from going over to the browser and you have to like manually kind of find it, which is a total pain. How much do you make as a coder? I make $370K right now. Is it bad programming if we copy the logic for example games instead of coding the logic? I mean, like, yes and no. Like, there's nothing wrong with copying as long as you know what you're doing. The problem is if you're like copying things and you don't know what's going on. That's like super bad. But yeah, Bloody Pouch says copy and do little twists. I think that's a good way of saying it. Adam, thank you for the follow. Arcanum, where do you work? I work at a fun little company called Upstart. Actually, it's not little, it's mid-size. Gene says, you really deserve it. No easy task. Thank you so much, Gene. Very kind. Do you like Next? Yep, I'm a big fan. I use something called Blitz.js, which is kind of like Next on steroids. So I like this more than sort of Vanilla Next. But Vanilla Next is great too. So there's pros and cons to either approach. One of the benefits of Vanilla Next is that you can use the new directory, which is only kind of like sort of supported in Blitz at the moment. And if you do not like, so I like Blitz RPC, which is the query pattern in Blitz, but if you do not like it, probably you should go with regular Next instead of Blitz, and then you can use TRPC or something else. How do you feel about recruiters? They're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. How long have you been a dev? About 10 years. Lots of questions. Thanks so much for the questions. Hey, quick reminder, go over to YouTube and you can see the full screen. I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel at the moment, so I would appreciate your support. Let's get back to coding. Okay, so the good news is I have a header and a footer now. The bad news is I have two of them somehow. So let's go over here and see if we can spot the reason why. Styles looks good. Top nav content is wrapped in a suspense block. Good deal. This is the user profile. The user profile is wrapped within the show user page that has its own header and footer, and that is the problem. So the top nav content is expressed twice. So we can just delete this, I think. Let's just delete this. the main class here is an awkward location. The main class here is an awkward location. I'm going to drop the footer. So this should solve the problem so that we only see the header and the footer once. There you go, top nav once, bottom footer once. The problem isn't fully solved yet though. I don't expect to be using the main tag more than once on a page. Let me see whether it's used once or twice within the elements. FV. I'm going to add the left angle. Okay, it's only used once. Okay. What I was worried about, I was worried that there is a higher level wrapper that includes both of these bits. That doesn't exist in this application. Okay. So in a lot of apps I build, there will be basically a standard page wrapper, and it will include the main tag. We don't have to worry about that today. Z, Shift Z. This is looking good. Cool. I think this looks pretty good. We can sort of get into the finer details now. Close others. At a high level, this looks good. We can get into the finer details now. So as a finer detail, it is weird that this is like off to the left and super spaced out, right? So let me find a card component that I can use. So if I go to, say, for example, this settings page, I have this card component that is, it's somewhat nice, although look here. I don't particularly like this header and footer on the settings page. So let's do both of them. Settings, index. We would like to add this bit. Do I have a container styles over here? Container. Nope. So I'll grab this whole bit. Here's one div level, here's a second div level, and here I have the layout component. That's a good thing to have. It's mainly only including the metadata. Okay. So I will have them both. Let's hover and include the styles. It's not able to auto detect which styles I'm referring to because there's a bunch of styles. We want the home module in particular. What part of the country are you in? I live near DC. I live in Northern Virginia. Benjamin says use Tailwind. We're using Tailwind. Look at this. This is Tailwind. Do you know what Tailwind is? Bloody Pouch, thanks for the follow. I want to do a project with ChatGPT API, but I'm worried about the costs. Do you have any advice? Right. I mean, my main advice would just be don't do it. So that's like I don't know. That's like saying I'd like to be a fire drinker, but I'm worried about the heat. Like ChatGPT has a cost. Here on Latterly, I can show you one workaround. So there is a free chatbot right here. Click this link, check it out. The way it works is through a priming message. Hey. So instead of using the API, we use a priming message. And I chose Claude because Claude has a larger context window, so you can provide more priming. So it also depends on your particular use case, but I think my first step of advice, if you're interested in using ChatGPT via the API, but you're worried about cost, my first piece of advice is don't do that project. Like, pick a different project. You can check out Llama 2. I would highly recommend as an open source chat model. I think it's about as good as ChatGPT 3.5. It's nowhere close to GPT-4. Like, it's nowhere close. But you can access this model through the API for zero cash out of pocket, potentially, if you have the right hardware, like if you have a sufficiently performant computer, or if you know how to sort of like play games with free tier resources in GCP. So Google Cloud has some free, like actually various cloud providers. You can potentially run this for free for a limited time using free tier games. That's a dangerous game, and I generally don't recommend it because if you forget to turn off your server, now you owe a lot of money. So you're getting around it somehow. Nice. Yeah, I'm just not using the API at all. Like ChatGPT is free if you don't use the API, right? So this GPT 3.5, it's totally free. Good chat. Thanks for being here, y'all. Okay, styles is not defined. Right, so I have the unsaved change here. Circle in the top of the file means that it's unsaved. Command Z, Command Shift Z. So I'm importing the styles to fix the error that you saw. We want to go solve this lint error as well. I'll hover, click the quick fix, add the import, the relative import from double dot. And let me now, by the way, I'm going to move this up. I like to group my imports this way. This is just an opinion. This is like not a big deal, right? But I like to have my third parties at the top, my own components in a second group, and those are all logical imports, and then I separate my style imports. Then I can sort the imports. Didn't I just group them? Why would I sort them additionally? Because it sorts them alphabetically in each block within block sort. Okay. So now we have both. I want some top margin here as well. Margin top, maybe half a rem. I think that looks fair enough. Maybe even a whole rem. What do you think? Let me know in the chat if you can even tell the difference. 1 rem versus half a rem. Catch y'all later. See you later. Thank you for being here. Some guy says, I would like to quit driving my trash dump truck and start six-figure coding job next week. What do? Yeah, good joke. That's not going to happen. Okay, back to home is no longer needed. Back to home. Let's drop this nav section. Okay. And now I notice that the prior nav was inside of this relative min-h screen and the new nav is not. That's a possible problem, so let's keep an eye on it. Okay, so we have the new header. I want to add the new footer as well. We lost the top rim because I never added it via Tailwind. So which component would that be? The card is, I think, this guy. MT4. Let's take a look. And that looks good. Let me know if I should go for MT8, but I think MT4 looks good. Wake up and relax. Thanks for the follow. Okay, let's add. I'm going to change this from MT4 to MY, which is going to be above and below. So T for top, Y for the Y axis, above and below. So we should see some orange at the bottom there, and we do. Hey, I'm dead serious. I'm going to DM you. Yeah, feel free. Why do you need to be dead serious? That's like... You could just DM me. Finally added your Discord. Thanks, Nick. All right. So we got the top nav, we got the top and bottom margins. Now we want to add the footer. Let's go ahead and extract this footer. I'm getting tired of, I was trying to preserve it as an issue for someone else to do because it's like an easy pull request, but I'm getting tired of like repeating the phrase. So here I'll say laterally footer. Okay, that doesn't exist yet, so we'll go create the component. Components folder, core components, control click, new file, laterally footer.tsx. We'll just make this a React functional component. Const laterally footer is a stateless function, an arrow function, ES6 function. Okay. And I'm really tempted to make a standard page wrapper so that I don't have to import styles. All right, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, so this will be a laterally page wrapper. And we'll move all this stuff into the page wrapper. Now I will grab the wrapper div, delete it, and delete this footer. Okay. Over here, this is going to be laterally page wrapper. Here's the wrapper div, wraps around the footer. This is going to have a child. Is it child or is it children? I guess it's children, isn't it? Go to the layout component. Here's children. Oh, that's an unused import. Let's delete that. This is the core layout component. I'm wondering if I should just recycle this. The answer is no. These are different concerns. So this will be usually wrapping the thing that I'm building. Usually wrapping the thing that I'm building. So we can go ahead and incorporate it. I think it sounds good. We'll keep them decoupled. They can be collapsed later if needed. So here's the layout. So instead of the, so usually wrapping. So here's the wrapper. Ice, just kidding. So we import that higher level layout. Now we're going to import the HTML, or sorry, the CSS styles. Okay. Child is children. Or is it child? Because I really only want one child there, don't I? This thing calls it children. I'll just maintain the name. We can call this layout props. We'll export that type. This is not laterally specific, so I'm not calling it laterally layout props. I'm just calling it layout props. But we're going to use those same props for this page wrapper. So here we are using react.fc, taking layout props. Hover, quick fix, import. And it rightly tells me that child doesn't exist because it is called children. Look at that. And it knows the type is a React node. We should also have title. It should know that this is an optional string. So it's string or undefined. children is there. Also an optional entity. Great, this is looking good. We need to rename the file. It's the Latterly page wrapper, and it includes the footer, but it's not just a footer. Latterly page wrapper. Strange that the page wrapper currently does not include the top nav. I'm going to leave it like that for now. Let's make sure that we're exporting this component. And where do we put the children? By the way, the title will go here. And then the children will go here. Looks good. Grab this name, Command Z, Command Shift Z. So here we are now using this instead of the layout. Okay. We import, the head is being passed, that's fine. I no longer need to use the styles container. So I can drop one end div. Command S, everything is looking good. Cool, and before I clean up the imports, let's just make sure it looks the way I expect. So which page was this? This is the settings index, and the main change that I expect now, thanks for the follows, y'all. What's the difference between TypeScript and JSX? So JSX is the React file extension, so it's a React file. You can visit, oh no, you can't visit this. What is going on? React, you can visit react.dev to learn more. So JSX means that you're writing a React component. TSX means that you're writing a React component using TypeScript. So the J versus the T is JavaScript versus TypeScript. So whether or not you have types. This HTML-like syntax is React. It's not HTML, it just kind of looks like it. And the giveaway is the fact that none of these are HTML tags. Suspense is not an HTML tag. It doesn't exist in the HTML specification. There's no HTML5 entity called suspense or setting form. There are entities called, of course, div, h1p, etc. But in the ordinary HTML spec, you can't mix and match real things and fake things. In React, you can. You can just make up new components. That's what React does. And so that would be JSX, and if you add types, it then becomes TSX. Now, what about TS without the X? That is just TypeScript with no React in it. So like it's like a script, basically. There's no React elements here. There's nothing that's going to compile into HTML. This is just like logical scripting. And so there's nothing like there's no components here. There's no like div. There's no like form component. None of the above. It's just programming language. Thanks for the follows, y'all. You can go to YouTube and see the full screen. By the way, this is part of a series, Building in Public series. Let me show you the whole playlist. This is part 22. Part 22. And the playlist, Building Latterly, on my YouTube channel. And so you can see just hours and hours of coding this thing from scratch. Colin, David, Torma, how do you say that? Tormala Teridius. Thanks for the follows, y'all. And Robert, thank you so much for the likes. Okay, so here's the page wrapper. The page wrapper includes this footer. The page wrapper has been applied to this settings file. So I should have a footer, right? Simple enough. So where is my footer? So here I'm going to Command F and look for the word footer. So we can see that this is supposed to be a footer right here, but the rendering is very, very strange. Okay, so it's a z-index issue. So it's underneath the card. There's a footer underneath the card. Let's try and prove this. Z-index 99, so I just boosted it. You can see in the DevTools Z-index 99, and now it's on top of the card. We don't want it to be behind or in front of the card. We want neither one. We want it to be underneath the card. So what can be done? The issue here is this min H screen thing, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, just literally just removing the min H screen seems to fix it. Let's make sure this doesn't disturb the mobile view. Yeah, mobile is still looking good. It could be, the card could be a little bit less wide. It doesn't really look like a card on mobile, so that's a little bit janky, but I think this is good enough. So the apparent solution is that I should eliminate that style that I toggled. What was that thing called? Relative H min screen. I think it's just, let me just try getting rid of the whole div. So here I will empty cache and hard reload. Sent a donut, thank you so much. And thanks for the follow. David, thank you for the follows. Over 5K, we made it. This didn't quite solve the issue. Let's see what else needs to be done. This thing. Yeah, it's these min height calculations. So, oh, you know what? I think the min height calculation can live as long as we move the footer inside of it. So let me delete the, oh, but we're not going to move the footer inside of it because it's right here. Is there anything like that on this page wrapper? No, I don't think so. So let's try again. Let's try commenting this one. Now the item floats left, but otherwise it seems good. Okay, so we want to have the div because I want my items centered. I just don't want this min H thing. And now we're looking good. And how about mobile? Mobile first. Keep it mobile first. It looks good. I may want to move this into the page wrapper. I will do that later if I decide to do so. For now, this seems good. So for now that I have this common logic, let me use it over here. We now have the laterally page wrapper. Import it, save it. What is going on? Are my lights flashing or something? Also check the position and display CSS properties. It's a flex. It's display flex. If those are set correctly, they wouldn't be overlapping. It's a little more complicated than that. I was forcing the page container to be artificially vertically short was the issue. Page flex, like flex is a perfectly fine display mode. There's nothing wrong with flexing here. But if you flex and then if you artificially manipulate the height, that combination is creating the issue. Jalen, thank you for the follow. Dev Hulk, thanks for the follow. If you know someone else who's interested in programming, feel free to send them either this video, you can share the video right now, or any of my videos or the website, and we can help other people learn to code. Okay, so now that we have the header and the footer here, we want to go back to the home page. This is an awkward thing. There's no like home button. Let me commit one thing at a time so that we're not accumulating too many changes. So here I just want to stage the Latterly page wrapper as the new feature. Okay, we'll push that. Now let me add a home button here. This thing needs a home button. Oh, you know what? This is like a common top nav. Patrick, thanks for the follow. So I have this like top nav that I keep reusing, but it's not actually in my page container. All right, I'll go ahead and do it. So let's cut this out, save that. I do like to use the React prefix just to show which components are from React and which are my own. It's just an opinion, nothing really required about it. Here's the top nav content. It's in the pages directory where it should not be. So let's go ahead and grab this. I was wanting to not do this right now, but it feels like the right thing to do. So we'll grab it. This is going to include the logout button. Is that logout button used anywhere else? One of two locations. I'm Command F, I'm enter, and I can see VS Code is telling me one of two locations. So this is basically an internal subcomponent of the top nav, so I'll grab both of these. And then what about this helps content block? Okay, that does belong on the homepage. So I'm cutting Command X, Command S, and I'm moving them from the pages directory into the components directory. And I think I can just move them into this page wrapper. I don't know of a use case where I just want the top nav content without the rest of the wrapper, but we'll continue to export it just in case. Let's import all this stuff that we're using. Cool. Sort the imports, grab the styles and move those out separately. Save. Break the line after React so the native modules are separated from third parties. So this seems fine. Unfortunately, that component was used in a bunch of places, and so now I have to go check them all, but at least this wrapper seems good. So we still have the footer, we still have this top nav on the settings page. We get to eliminate some imports. That's nice. And the overall page shrinks. So each component is getting smaller. We're more modular. That's all very well. Can remove the top content from here. I don't need this bit anymore. So the page becomes really thin. It's basically a wrapper around the user profile, which is nice. Smalls says, love React. Thanks for being here, Smalls. Brandon, thank you for the follow. Quick reminder, you can go to YouTube and see the full screen. By the way, if you decide to sign up for the website today, pay what you can or premium. And then, so I'm building a new feature. It's an opt-in feature, Hall of Fame and shout-out rotation. So you can't actually opt into these yet because they don't exist. But if you go ahead and sign up, then I will eagerly opt you in if you so wish, and you can be the first person in the Hall of Fame. That would be pretty cool. Thoughts on Cornell computer science? Cornell is a baddie. Cornell is a baddie. We love Cornell. Aden or Aiden, thank you for sharing the live. Thank you so much. Okay, so this settings page is looking good. I need the home link. Let's add the home link. Kind of want to just do an icon, right? So what are we doing here? This is moving the top nav into the page wrapper. All right, what I would like to do next is I would like to have a home icon on the left here. I guess I'll just put the word home for now, but I would like it to be an icon. So here, let me make another GitHub issue to basically backlog this. This will have a good first issue label. It's going to be statically, let's see. It's going to be statically generated, so it doesn't really matter if it's SVG or not too much, I don't think. So yeah, y'all can go, I'm going to put the word home here, and then y'all can go change it to the icon if you want. It's just the favicon up here, right? Why don't I just go ahead and do that? See, I'm nickel and diming myself into doing all this stuff that's unrelated. In a blitz.js application, I would like to add a home icon to the top nav. I have a PNG file. How can I easily make that into a top or into an icon? So it's taking the inline SVG approach, which I really love. But I think it's going to look ugly. All right, let's give it a try. So we can try this thing. Choose a file. If we go to my workspace, and we go to Where do I save my favicon? Is it in the public folder? Yeah. PNG, PNG, PNG. I have an ICO file. I don't know if that translates to SVG well. Let's go for the, I don't know, 192 or 30. I don't know what the right choice is here. Let's go for the 192. Please don't look like ass. Sometimes you write I and other times we when you write ChatGPT. Is there a reason or... Sometimes there's a reason. So I want ChatGPT to act as if we are both professional developers. So if you look at the very top, when I roll it, we are expert TypeScript developers. So I'm working with ChatGPT as if we're pair programming this application. And there is a reason for that, because I want it to say things that a developer would say. I don't want it to say things that the average, Reddit training data point would say. So sometimes I say we because in my mental model, like they and I are working on a project together as pair programmers. And then other times I might just accidentally say we, I guess. And then I will say I if it's something I'm specifically doing, and I may use that incorrectly as well. But my idea there being this is something I'm doing rather than something we're doing. Just kind of like the normal way you use the words we and I, right? Lynette, thank you for the follow. Okay. So I went to this website. I got this thing. Let's download this thing. That doesn't look too bad. Eh? I think it looks okay. All right, let's try and use it. Is it just going to be a massive SVG file? Here we'll make a folder. This is the page wrapper. Now I'm going to move this into there so that I can add this SVG file. This will be homeicon.svg. And it's not too big at all. Love that. It's not too big at all. All right, so let's go over to ChatGPT. And how does it wrap it? Just with an anchor, that's it. All right. This is going to look kind of boofed at first, but that's okay. So here's home icon, PAP. Don't need that comment. It only wants one child. Is that the issue? So we have the margin left auto, and this will be a margin right auto. So we're going to have a React fragment that goes around both of them. Here I'm using inline style. I can convert it to Tailwind style. I don't care, let me live. It's not that deep. Cool. So it's putting it in the public folder. That's not quite the inline idea that I had in mind. Inline, I can actually use an SVG React component. So let me rename this. I'm going to call this homeicon.tsx. comment the doc type, and now it's just an SVG component. And we'll make it a React functional component. Okay. Will it blend? It's not importing this bad boy. This is crazy to me. It's literally a sibling file and it won't. Oh, okay, because this thing is broken, so it's probably failing to parse. I think I just need another double dot. Okay, how about now? No? I will manually import it. Oh, you know what? I never put the word export. That's on me. That's on me. I'm the problem, it's me. Cool. GPT can figure it out. I'm starting to get hungry. How about y'all? This says no such file or directory. That's right. Now that I have moved this page wrapper, everyone importing it needs to update. And why did I do that? I just did that because the SVG file is tightly coupled with the page wrapper. So if I have another application where I want the page wrapper to work, I want to be able to drag and drop this folder. So it's a matter of portability and modularity. Here we are on the settings page, so I need to fix that one. Command P, setting, index. VS Code supports fuzzy typing, so I don't have to write the word all the way out. Page wrapper. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted, right? What did you think I wanted? You didn't think that's the ideal design? That's on you. So let's block it with, I don't know, 1 rem. Height, 1 rem. Yes. Nice. How about the SVG itself? Block it. It might already be a block. Okay, and now it's itsy bitsy. Let's refresh the page. And it's sort of like, this is welcome to CSS, right? So this is kind of just a guess and check situation. Let me go to the computed display type. So it's already a block, so I don't need to block it. But what I do want to do is constrain the width. 1 rem looks too small, 2, 3, 2. 2 feels kind of like good. I don't know, what do you think? 2, 3, maybe 2.5. 2 feels fine. Oh gosh, I'm gonna break my alarm clock. Yeah, that's fine. So all I really need to do here is add a width, it seems. Whoa, I don't know where it came up with this stuff. Oh yeah, I do, because that was the original, that was the size of the original thing. So it looks like a square. 192 is the same on the height and width, so I'll alter to 1 rem. And then the view box similarly. I don't know if rem is supported in view box. Cool, and it died. Expected number got this thingy. Okay, so can I wrap it in a div? Let's try. Div. SVG is just kind of a weird tag. That's the issue here. Style width 1 rem. And so it's overflowing. I could throw this in an image tag and source it. That might solve the problem. It looks like I can let the view box be whatever it wants. And just alter the width and height. So let's try that. Cool. That's kind of what we're going for, more or less. I want it to be vertically centered, but that's a matter for the anchor, not the SVG itself. That's 1 rem. I meant to go for 2. My bad. Yeah, that's basically what I'm looking for. How about y'all? What do you think? Tyler, thank you for the follow. Xenorox V, thank you for sharing. Is it V or is it 5? Quick reminder, we're working on Latterly.io. You can go sign up for it already. It's perfectly functional. You can get a checklist that helps you learn to code, land your first or next programming role, and grow your social and professional networks. You can sign up for free. It's not only free, it's also open source, unlike many of the other programs you may have heard of. In addition, you can start unlocking features for yourself and the entire community with as little as $1 a month, contributing to the community bounty. If you go for 30 or higher, you will be an early adopter in the shout out feature, and I'm going to implement that soon. It'll basically be a big kind of like one of these cards, but then it says like thank you to our supporters, and it'll have a link to your public profile. Tyler says no problem, just trying to retain some of the information about web dev. Practice makes perfect. I actually have terrible memory. That might surprise you. I really cannot remember things. But that's why we search. You know, we have ChatGPT, we have Google, we have Stack Overflow, we have our own reference code, and also just repetition. So even if I don't remember some stuff, you do it for 10 years, you know, or even for half a year, and you start, you'll surprise yourself. So the home icon is looking good. I can drop this Android SVG file. Latterly page wrapper needs to be updated because currently it is just an anchor. What I would like to use is a link. And then what is the property on link? Is it href? Okay. And I want that to go to the dashboard page. Routes dot. Oh, it's not called dashboard. What is it? It's called homepage. Home. Okay. I don't really need a paragraph here. This guy is kind of just out on its own. So we'll style this directly. Margin right is auto. I want to give it some additional margin or some padding. Okay. What do I want to give it? It seems fine already, actually. It seems fine already because there's a little bit of Y padding PY1 tailwind on the nav itself, which seems fine. So let's go to the parent and make sure that it is the items are vertically centered. So the icon looks good, but these other elements not so much. Hector, thank you for the follow. Cool. Align items center is what we need. And that is on the... So what's the tailwind? Class name for align items center. Item Center. What a great name. Okay, so we're going to have a sort of a TDD mindset here. We're going to break it, then fix it. Command R. Our table is broken. You can see these items floated to the top, and that's not what I want. So this is breaking it, and now we're going to go fix it. Command Shift F, Command V, and we can find this is the entity under search, okay? And now I can add it anywhere because I have the Tailwind sort on. So I can just add this class name phrase anywhere in the class name, and that would be items center. Space, Command S. Notice I got this Tailwind lint error. It's invalid order. That's fine. I save it. It fixes it on save. So that's the Tailwind VS Code extension. We'll help you with that. And now we can confirm it works. All right, cool. And we click it, and it takes us to the home page. Oh no, this is not defined. So this is actually working totally as expected. I'm going to save this, save this, save this. Here is the settings page. We'll save this. And the feature here is page wrapper home icon. Okay, so why is that other page erroring? The answer is because there's a bunch of places where we need to use this top nav now that it exists. So this is the page wrapper we just built. These other places all need an update. So let's use the latterly page wrapper. Title is home. This is going to replace the prior use of the layout tag. We no longer need to specify a footer. Okay. We no longer specify the top nav content or the container style. So we'll drop a div down here. Cool, I think it looks good. Let's see if it's working in the UI. So now we're on the homepage. We go to community, back to home, settings, and now we can go back to home from the settings page. Cool. We have some imports we don't need anymore. Remove unused imports. VS Code shortcut helps us there. So I can save this. Let's move the styles to their own line. We'll sort. Looks good. And now we're under 150 lines on the home page, which is a touch big, but it's a lot smaller than it was. So previously we were over 200, so we've shaved off, look, we've shaved off 80 lines. So that's a win. A win is a win. And so the feature here is home uses page wrapper. And you can see we're slowly cleaning our workspace up before we continue so that I don't mix unrelated commits. So here's the user ID. Under the community, Command P, community. user ID. Still need to manually put /1 until we get that fixed. Are we using the page wrapper here? Yes, we are. And we can give it a title. Notice here the current title is Laterally Accelerate Your Tech Career, which is sort of the generic page title. I can give it the, and that is the title that goes on search engines, by the way. This is the meta title. Let's say Laterally Pipe Community. Let's hover, Laterally Pipe Community. It's gotten fixed. Now I would like to alter the style on this main area. So if I drop the flex, it looks a little bit better. What if I go to the home page and drop the flex? I'm not personally noticing a substantial difference. How about you? Padding. The padding makes a bit of a difference. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I think the only thing that really matters here is the padding. Let's go over to mobile view. If I can simplify the style, I would prefer to. That mobile header nav looks kind of a little bit gross, so we'll probably need to revisit that. Probably get some menu, like a menu icon basically. There are enough elements that a menu icon is starting to make sense. So if padding is the only reason that I'm using this home main style, it could be time to drop the style, right? And then the padding I can do with Tailwind easily enough. Okay, styles.main. Here I'm going to convert this like this. I know Tailwind over inline style, but I don't think it's a big deal. I can convert a whole page of inline styles to Tailwind in like 30 seconds using ChatGPT. So now that I've done that, I've just eliminated the class name, which is a pretty substantial change. Has it sort of messed up my style in a substantial, notable way? Not that I really see. Zinnerox, should we not take a mobile first approach? We totally should. Mobile first is the way to go. The site is mobile first. This thing is new. The messed up nav is new. So it's bad and we should fix it. It's bad and we should fix it. Let me create a different GitHub issue for that. Use home icon instead of word home. I'll alter this because we've done that now, right? So let's recycle this issue to say better mobile nav. The mobile nav has gotten crowded. Consider introducing a menu or other style that's more mobile friendly. So yeah, this project is open source. Y'all are more than welcome to, this could be a good one, right? Even if you're just a front-end developer, you could knock this one out. And that would be great to have on your resume that you contributed to Latterly. Okay. Here, we had removed the class name in favor of a singular style of padding. Can we get away with removing more? Let's not get too ambitious, but if I can get rid of a bit more, that'll be nice. So here are the cards. Next steps card. Oh, we need the next steps card. This is within the pricing plan. The header style. Okay, so that's actually at the top of the page. It's actually at the top of the page. Yeah, that's pretty much needed. It can be converted easily enough, but that's going to be, I'm going to argue that stuff's out of scope. Okay, so we'll leave it at that for now. Feel free to take a crack at that if you want to. Removing the CSS altogether so that we're just using Tailwind styles instead of mixing. That would be cool, but I don't know that it's incredibly urgent for me to work on right now. So this would be style. Oh, before I do that, Command P, home, CSS, and Latterly. Let's get rid of the style if it's not being used, right? And where are we using globe, by the way? Div styles globe. I think we can probably just delete that. I thought that was a, I don't think I was paying very close attention. Oh, okay, it's the background there. Well, I like the background. I like the background, but it doesn't need to be defined in CSS. What is important for small business, local area network only in the map section, not organic marketing, PR versus blogs or articles? I don't know. I have yet to run a successful small local business, so I don't really know. Lake said, are you going to upload this on YouTube? Yeah, it's being streamed to YouTube right now, and it will be saved after the fact, so I'll show you where you can find it later. Playlists, building Latterly. And this will be part 22. So let's move, I would propose let's move the globe to the standard page thing. And then can I move the footer as well? Oh, see, I'm just out here like getting so distracted. Let me leave this alone for now. I will move the globe though into the page wrapper. So now the settings page has the globe as well. The globe is just the name of that background style, and it's implemented as a component. Okay. That looks good. So we're trying to get this user ID fixed up, this user ID details page. So we don't need this main, we don't need either of these layers now. We can use the main tag semantically, that makes sense, but we don't need the main style on it. And we don't need this container style, I don't think. Let me double check on that. But haven't we included that in this page wrapper now? Yeah. Yeah. So I go to the community page. This one is not using the generic thing yet. Go to /1, and I have a globe now. I have a globe, and the crazy spacing is fixed, and I have my standard header. But this item, I would like it to be in the center. So I would like it to be sort of a standard card component. What do you recommend for someone breaking into tech as a dev? Apprenticeship? ? I don't have, oh yeah, I do. My general recommendation is on the checklist. So you can sign up for free. You can check out the standard checklist. A portfolio is my standard recommendation. And a program, a substantive program. Coursera, Codecademy Pro, a reputable boot camp, a Latterly mentorship. Or a CS degree. I mean, that's fine, but that's going to take you several additional years. But it's a good fit for some people. But this is basically my recommendation. Thanks for the follow, Brian. Okay, so this is looking good. This one is also looking good. And I'm writing up the idea here. So the feature is profiles use page wrapper. And page wrapper has globe background. I'll just say I'll spell it out, background. That takes care of this one. And what's the deal here? And here we're removing the extraneous main style. Cool. All right, now we want to fix the blog. So the blog is kind of messed up. So the blog is using the top nav content. And also, yeah, basically just the blog. The blog index page and the blog details page need to use the new wrapper. Okay, so the new wrapper, we don't duplicate the footer anymore. And we don't duplicate this container div anymore with the top nav. Instead, the container div becomes laterally page wrapper. The title comes in from the blog post itself. And that seems to fix, excuse me, the blog details page. Let's fix the blog index page, the list. Then we will be able to do a manual functional test over the both. The page wrapper shouldn't go there. The page wrapper should go, oh, okay. All right. So we'll do laterally pipe blog. Grab the import, remove the duplicate footer. Now whenever I make an update to the footer, I just have to update one place, right? That's the benefit here, as well as the top nav. We don't need that main style anymore, and so I don't need the CSS import anymore. Looks great on paper. Let's see if it works. So notice that it's actually changed the way it looks. It used to be in the middle of the whole page. I'm not necessarily mad at this look, but it is a change. The footer is not at the bottom anymore. This still looks good. And it's nice that I have the home link here. Local Geek says, hey senior, I'm late. That's okay. Ricardo, where can I see the checklist? If you sign up, it's right there in the big middle pink of the screen. Standard checklist. There's also an advanced checklist you can access for as little as $1 a month. Schaefer, thanks for being here. Robe, Robots Building Education. Am I late? I mean, I started, how long ago have I been going now? I started 2.5 hours ago, if that's what you mean. But yeah, you can drop in and drop out whenever you want. Pit ZZ4, hi senior, good work. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. If y'all scroll to the bottom of the website, you can see the Discord. Hope you'll join the Discord. Trying to hit 100 people on that Discord. What are we at? We're at 98. So I only need 2 more people to join the Discord and we'll hit that 100 goal. We can probably do that before we wrap up today, don't you think? Okay. So should I leave it alone or should I make the, force this thing to float to the bottom of the screen? I think for now I'll leave it alone. If it bugs me more, I'll fix it later. It doesn't bug me that much right now, to be honest with you. Okay, so I'll go ahead with this. Even though it changed the look slightly, I'll go ahead with it. Let me also go here to the community page and use the new wrapper. So instead of layout, we want to use the latterly page wrapper. Title is latterly pipe community. Okay. Don't need the layout import anymore. Back to home, we do not need a back to home nav anymore. Relative min H screen. Let's see. Maybe that's what is, see, that's what's making the thing float in the middle, right? The relative min H screen. Oh, maybe it's not, because it's still floating in the middle. So we'll get rid of that. Maybe I want to bring the min height back. I think so. I think it's just a little bit taller than I really wanted it. But if it's like 80, let's do this. How does this look? So let me try and move this into the page wrapper itself and see how much chaos this causes. Otherwise, I can move this to its own thing, which is probably what I should do. Probably what I should do. So it looks fine here. Now the blog is back in the middle, right? Now the settings are all screwed up. The blog article is messed up. So this is a page-by-page decision. What about the homepage? Homepage looks messed up. Yeah, the homepage is all messed up. So this will be implemented as a page-by-page decision. So I'll undo that. Here's the children. Excuse me. And this is kind of like a floating card container, which some pages will use and some pages will not use. I think that makes sense. What are you making? We're working on latterly.io. You can see the link in my bio. This is a website that helps people learn to code, land your first or next programming role, and grow your social and professional networks. So now I can go to my profile. This card is what I want to work on now. So what is the commit name or the commit message? The blog and community pages use the new wrapper. Cool. Let's see if I can just copy these literally. To the user details page. Right click, close others. So now it's down here in a card. I think it looks better. That's what I wanted. So why don't I make this a generic card component? I guess I should, right? Okay, so components, core components. This is I only want one of these cards per row. I'll call it a large card. Large card.tsx. It's a large card. It's large because only one intended per row. That's what it means, large card. Python, nope, this is TypeScript. Mark, thank you for the follow. Leon, thanks for the follow. So we have this large card here. Where else do we use it? We use it in the settings. Setting index. So let me use a large card here. Does it still look fine? I think it still looks fine. Where else? Community, blog. Pretty much only these two places, right? Community. Oh, also here. So on the community page, community index. Okay, so I go to a home page, starting over, we go to community. Okay, John, this thing looks good, settings. It's consistent, the card is consistent. Do you need any help with any planned features? Absolutely, great question. Come by the Discord. Oh, we had another person join the Discord, all right. We're at 99 on the Discord, y'all. Let's get it over 100. So here's the open roadmap, Brian. Feel free to help out with any of these. I also have, so here's the web, the open source project on GitHub. And I have some of them marked as good first issues. So there's two in particular I would point you at. One is this Better Mobile Nav. KRZTA, is it Python? Nope, this is TypeScript. So Better Mobile Nav, this is the first one where I think it's a good first issue. You can work on any of these, by the way. Better 404 could be a good first issue. Let me add that. And the footer and the top nav as reusable components. This is partially done. So what still needs to be done here? No, this is basically done now. I didn't really intend to solve it through this one, but pretty much we're solving it. And there's some other good first issues. You can check them out. If you want to work on a Discord bot, if you want to do this next step sign up thing. There was another one I wanted to call out, but I forgot what it was. So, oops. Are these open source? Yep, they sure are. KRZTA. How do you say that? Kirsta? Thanks for the follow. $99 on the Discord. We love to see it. We love to see it. Okay, so here it says users. I'm not sure that I like that, users. Member profiles. Member profiles. I should never have set that alarm. That's bugging me so much. Yeah, the next and previous buttons are like not super useful, are they? Here, margin bottom 0.5 rem, 1 rem. If I just say margin, yeah. I'm going to give it a margin Y. So here, let's take the margin bottom 4 off. Can I add a class name to a suspense block? Let's find out. Class name. MY. MY4. Not on the suspense block. Okay, okay. What about on the user list? Well, the vertical margin looks good, but okay, hold on. No, it doesn't. How about on the UL? All right, that looks good. So the feature here is this large card, basically. The kids just got home and have immediately started crying. What?
I was trying to go to the bathroom, but Ellie was coming in with me when she's coming.
Sam, go to the upstairs bathroom.
But maybe we won't go to that one.
Andrew says, what CSS framework are you using? We're using Tailwind. Taryn, do you ever do LeetCode? Would be some good content. Yeah, sometimes. So what are we doing now? I'd like this to look a little bit better still. This H1 doesn't look much like an H1. Sam. Needs a bigger font size. Yeah, even just doing that. Even just doing that looks good. I think that'll be fairly good for now. Margin bottom, one rem. Yeah, that'll be pretty good for now. Are you going to increase the one size? Yep, yeah, I think we will. What's the main goal for this project? Well, Latterly helps people learn to code, land their first or next programming role, and grow their social and professional networks. All right, and we just hit 100 on the Discord. Thanks so much, y'all. If you want to be number 101, like the Dalmatian, that would be fun, wouldn't it? So it's a platform to help people learn to code, network, grow their career. Please do consider supporting as little as $1 a month. You can access an advanced checklist, you can influence the development roadmap, and importantly, you can contribute to the community bounty. So the chatbot, for example, was developed because we got enough support on the community bounty. So thanks to our supporters for that. Do you have a schedule when you go live? I want to tune in more. I'm learning a bit. So currently I don't, but if the bounty gets large enough, I can do that. So let's see. I'll set a goal for that. I don't know, maybe $100 a month. Yeah, that sounds right. If we can get to $100 a month, then I will set a weekly schedule. Currently, it's just whenever I have free time. So what I would like to do now is the styles that I made in the DevTools, I'd like to incorporate them on the user details page. So let's close the others. Here's the user profile component. Okay. Class name. I don't know the syntax for this. Let's see. What is the Tailwind style to make a heading have a font size of 2 rem? Let's say class name. 2XL, great. So I don't see a computed font size on this element. So it's just a rem. Well, hello there, fellow coder. What's up, Jordan? Andrew says, so it's building a learning platform, but with help from the community. Yeah, pretty much. Milo, why not drink coffee all the time? Well, others have broader spectrum nutrients, like taurine guarana, so that you don't get the jitters. Ah, it's LG. Okay, I forgot the G. Yeah, I think that looks right. What looks better, the margin on top and bottom or the margin just on bottom? I'll do top and bottom unless I hear otherwise. Nick says, I've been going with yerba mate lately. We love to see it. Tyler says top and bottom. Okay, great. I agree. We love the community to agree, don't we? Let's look at our Google traffic while this, I bet it spiked while the thing's been going on, hasn't it? Real-time report. What is this? Is this true? This means almost nobody's visiting the actual website. Hey, check out the website, y'all. Latterly.io. Go sign up. Ethan, good to see you, Ethan. Hey, Ethan, let me know if I can put you on the Hall of Fame. Not to put you on the spot or anything. But I don't have anyone who's volunteered so far, so I'll just be putting myself there, which feels really weird and cringe. Okay, so this looks pretty good. I know it's not a clickable link. We'll do that later. We'll do that later. Ethan says, "What's the Hall of Fame?" So the public profiles is what I'm working on now, and it's pretty much done. Hall of Fame and the shout out rotation, both of them are for they're like donation leaderboards basically. So right here it says recognition through a banner on the website, social media shout outs, and mentions on the README files. So the shout out thing is like a bigger deal. That's for premium, but even pay what you can, you'll get on the Hall of Fame. My Tom, thanks for the follow. Quick reminder, you can go over to YouTube, link is in my bio, and see the full screen. You can also sign up for free at Latterly or access advanced features beginning as little as $1 a month. Joe, I'm desperately looking to hire a few coders. Cool, chat it up. You can also come check out the Discord. But there may be some people in the chat, and then there may be people in the Discord who would want to talk more. You can also book a call with me if you want to. Thanks for being here. Okay, so we have these public profiles. They're looking pretty good. Let's get ready to ship them. What else needs to happen? Let's make sure that it removes when I uncheck. Ethan says, sure. Yeah. Put Ethan. Start with Ethan. You rock, Ethan. We love to see it. React, what else? We got Prisma. That's the main other thing, Prisma. It's Blitz.js. Here's the website. This is the framework. It's a wrapper for Next.js. So there's an API layer, type-safe API layer, similar to TRPC or React Query. Built-in authentication. And it integrates with Prisma. We also got Tailwind, some stuff like that. Oh, wow, now they have wrappers for Next. Yep. Although it's been around for a few years at this point. Okay. I think this looks good. Oh, I wanted to make sure that I can uncheck it. And I also want it to show the checklist ID, or the checklist name rather than the checklist ID. So the user checklists. Here we want to have the name. Cool. Checklist name. Version completed at. That seems good to me. Programming job checklist, version completed at. Yeah, I think that looks way better, right? Maybe it needs a little spacing or something. Feels like it needs a little something. I don't know. Designer in the chat, let me know. Adrian, thanks for the follow. Ethan, thanks for the likes. Feels like it needs a little something. I'll just do a little bit of spacing for now. Is that good? Tony, thank you for the follow. I think that's fair enough. I don't know. Let me know if you prefer something different. Quick reminder, you can go over to YouTube and see the full screen. And we broke 100 on the Discord. We're at 101 on the Discord. Great to see y'all over there. So I think public profiles are good now. There is an issue, but it's only tangential. I could file it separately. So the issue is my checklist version is frozen. So you see here it says a new checklist version is available. Let's see if we can quickly fix this. If we can, we'll fix it. And if not, I'll fix it separately. The Crafters says, what is Latterly? You can Google Latterly or go to latterly.io. You can also check my About page if you're on YouTube and see the link over there. And it's this. It's a website that helps you learn to code, land your first or next programming role, and grow your social and professional networks in tech. So it's free and open source, and then you can add on additional features starting for as little as $1 a month, and even more if you hit the 30 per month. Come check out the Discord. It'll be good to chat with you after the show. Is it ladders.ca? No, that's a different company. Code with Ike. What's up, Ike? Thanks for being here. Yeah, there's a different Canadian company, and that's not me. Okay. How's the build going? Build is passing. Let me enable Ethan on the Hall of Fame. So currently we have blog, settings, back to home. Oh, this is prod. Let me get out of prod. So here we are on local. Community. There's John. Let me go find Ethan's. One moment, y'all. Bear with me. Ba-da-da-da-da. I'm loving it. Boom. Now we have Ethan. Okay. So what we want to do is get Ethan on the Hall of Fame. Tyler says, I found it. Jesus, I'm slow. That's okay. Better late than never. Happy Sunday. Okay. So now I want the, here's the community. In this community, we want a Hall of Fame feature. Confirming in subscriptions. So the amount is not currently in the database. So it looks like it'll be a Boolean flag for now, and then we can make the amount later. Or we can go ahead and create the property now, right? Why not? Xenorox, I need to go, but keep up the good work. See you next time. See ya. Thanks for being here. Okay. I will start in the database schema. So we'll go over to the schema. Laterally, we have the model user. This is really a subscription. It's kind of like a subscription change record, but it's a little bit different. So I don't know that I want to mess with that now. What database are you using? Supabase. Using Supabase. So we have this subscription change entity. The thing is like you can do a one-off donation without doing a subscription change. That's the tricky part of this. So there's a short-term and a long-term approach. The long-term approach is I should be using this entity, and it should not be called a subscription change. It should be called like a contribution or something like that. And a contribution may or may not result in a subscription change. So then the question is, do I use this entity or do I introduce an additional entity? I guess I need a new entity. Okay. Model contribution. Copy these over. So a user can make a contribution. It's not related to the tier. I may or may not want a type field. And it can be one-to-one with a subscription change. Optionally. In other words, it may or may not be connected to a subscription change. We can give it a type. I don't know that it matters, but why not? Okay, so we'll have a contribution enum, and it will basically be either one time or recurring. And you don't use a comma. Cool. We'll call this a contribution type enum, so then I can use the type. And it will be one time unless otherwise specified. Okay, so this seems good. I like to put the relations at the bottom. I don't think there's a need for an updated that on a contribution. Good, this seems good. So let me npm run migrate. Oh, I want this to be lowercase c. Hold on, let's cancel that. This should be contributions. Contributions. And the subscription change should not be associated, I don't think, with many contributions. It could just be possibly one. Why is this changes with a plural s? Okay. A one-to-one relation must use unique fields on the defining side. Either add a unique attribute to the field subscription change ID or change the relation to many, one to many. Yes, it should be unique. So one contribution will not create multiple subscriptions, that's for sure. Okay? So now if it is unique, then it's going to complain on multiple use of null. This is a common pain point. It wants to complain on multiple use of null. So you see the pain point here is that if Prisma is forcing me to basically make it non-null, now I have no reason to even make a different table out of it. I should just be using the same table. So that's fine. Previous tier and new tier. We can use this subscription change table and it can just not change basically. So basically they're going to be the same entity. Subscription change is a bad moniker because you may change from same to same, which is not a change at all. Subscription is also a bad moniker if we're going to support one time. So really what we want to do here is we want to just squish these entities together given the constraints that Prisma is giving us. So user ID is already on the subscription change. Subscription change doesn't need a self-reference. Contribution type will migrate. So this comes over here. Contribution is not a thing anymore. And now we have the same question on the subscription. That's okay. We can always point at some subscription, whether or not it changes. That's okay. So this just becomes the contribution. So let's go edit these things. These are now contributions. Okay. So contributions can be one time or recurring. We also want an amount, which should be an int. Good, so a contribution is always bound to a user and it's always bound to a subscription, whether or not that subscription changes. That's fine. I think this is fine, and this could even create a side benefit where if you make like 3 independent contributions, I can collect them and bump your subscription on the third one, something like that. So this seems fine. Let's check this out. Great. This will destroy a table, so Supabase might yell at me, but we're going to do it anyway. I think it's an empty table though. Init contributions. Prisma blitz Prisma generate. And that updates our type definition. Cool. So here we're going to commit feat contributions entity. Push it. Good. Now that we have this entity, let me refresh the Supabase. I might need to... Bam, that was super quick. It's already updated. So I'm going to manually create a record for Ethan. This is fun. One moment, I need to figure out his user ID. Okay. Are subscriptions one-to-one? Subscriptions. No, because a user may be subscribed to... So they're one-to-one within the type, but they're not one-to-one. Okay. Got it, got it, got it. Okay, we have a contribution record in prod now. All right, I know you didn't get to see any of that, but obviously sensitive financial information. So, but it's an achievement nonetheless. So here we are. We are npm run dev. Let's run the dev server. Might take a minute since we just sort of restarted things. What we want to do now is create the Hall of Fame. Okay, so we'll close 76 in this same PR. Flip this out of draft. Ethan and user 1. Why is it calling me user 1 instead of John? My name got wrecked. Yeah, the backup like wipes my name. That's a total bummer. I think I know why. I think I have a backup file on my local that that doesn't have my name written down. That's okay. No, that didn't fix it. Cool. What is this? Cybersecurity? Nope, we're building latterly.io. So here is the programming job checklist. All right, go to the community. Here's Ethan. And what we want to do now is two things. I would like the community dropdown basically now. So let me go over here. Command P, latterly page wrapper. We dive into the top nav content, this element. And we want to update this element. Let's update this component so that the community tab, the community link becomes a clickable, becomes a clickable link with a dropdown. The dropdown should have two additional elements. Should have three. The dropdown should reveal three elements. Hall of Fame up top, then my profile, browse all profiles. Is there a video you made regarding making our first blog for the checklist? There's the trial by fire, Ethan. So in latterly.io, yeah, this is already in prod. If you go to the trial by fire, this, and I should update it and redo it, but it's only an hour long. It could be quicker. But this shows you how to make the initial vanilla JavaScript blog project. Comments welcome, by the way, if you want, you know, any kind of a change or anything like that. I can probably do the whole next blog sometime soon. Let me know if I should prioritize that. Okay, so here is the component. Is dropdown open? So this is like acting as though there's only going to be one dropdown. I'm not sure I like that. That's fine. We can do that for now. Ethan says that would be awesome. What is that? The Next.js blog? Y'all can always file an issue, but let me just make sure I understand. This is video tutorial for Next.js blog on checklist. Content or curriculum. All right, cool. So we delete this old top nav content and now we have a new one. Yeah, just wrecked my GPT just wrecked my style on that. And it wrecked my anchors. Look at this. Oh, no. It changed it on purpose. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Look, it really changed this. Is GPT-4 back yet? Nope, still having trouble. Okay. All right, well, I'll need to fix it up, but let's see what we got, what we're working with. Oh gosh, it really trashed it, didn't it? Ooh, man. Wrong in so many ways. Yeah, GPT really screwed this one up. Let's see if there's a library for this. Tailwind drop-down component. There's got to be, right? Drop-downs. This looks awesome. This is exactly what I want. Why not material? I'm thinking we go for material. More support, more Stack Overflow questions. I get that headless UI is nice because it's unstyled, so we can use the Tailwind style with it. I guess Tailwind and Material will probably be fighting one another, won't they? Oh no. You gotta buy this code, ick. So let's, this feels like a big change to introduce Material at this time. Let's try using Material, and we can revert if we hate it. But this is not super great. Okay, so I'm discarding this change here. Let me see if I can use the GPT-4 model without code insert. Well, let me try it with and without. So with, something went wrong. Okay, cool. Without, something went wrong. Total bummer. Yeah, GPT-4 is like busted right now in the GUI. Let's use Material UI. Let's use the Material UI drop-down component. So we'll copy this, kill this, paste, enter. All right. Here is the original version of the component. Again, make sure to include the logout button. Oh, dude, GPT 3.5, I really hate you sometimes. The main thing I care about is this menu bit. Here's the button. Okay. So I'm just gonna grab pieces and assemble it myself instead of taking the thing it made, because it made a bad thing. This is all inside of a single list item. Okay, that works for me. So this time we placed it inside of the community list item. Thought this came from the icon library, which is installed separately, but GPT-3, yeah, is not, okay. This is what I need. Let's update the README to mention under the built with. Ethan, hey, swap to YouTube because I can watch in the background. For the checklist, the first blog post is the same as the GitHub repo we created in the trial by fire, correct? Yes. Yep. Started the dev server back up. It'll take a moment here. It's taking quite a while. I didn't expect it to take that long. All right, finally made it. Oh, look at that ugly community, but there is a drop down. So my profile, we want it to go to a particular URL, my profile. Here's the link, and that should go to users, all hard coded to 1 for now. Ah, this is duplicated. I see. Okay, so the button style here is not the style that I want. So here the link style looks good. If we convert to an A, then this has some, yeah, we're fighting with material style immediately, aren't we? If I use the term strong. Why would I use the material button here? I'm pretty baffled that there's not a drop down here. Maybe it's just called something else. It's called menu or something.
Next, I want to build a simple drop-down like the kind you might...
Oof. Yeah, see? That looks better. The code looks better. I mean, the menu itself is kind of... And they're using the hashed anchors. That's just a placeholder, though. So the style looks decent there. Where's the logic? Here's the source code. I think probably I should revert adding material. I just don't want to be, and this has been archived since 2021. All right, I've been coding for a while. I'll probably take a breather and stew on this. This doesn't look very good either, to be honest with you. So this looks fine. In the template, this looks fine. Where is the logic? It's just an is open bool. Yeah, maybe I'll do it that way. All right, that's going to do it for today's stream. I've been sitting for a long time now. I'm going to go for a walk. Thanks for so many of you signing up to the Discord. We're now over 100. Let's see what we're at. Yeah, 101. And I will be shipping this feature later today. And yeah, I think I'm not going to use material. I don't like maintaining custom menu components, but I guess I'm going to end up doing that, a Tailwind menu component. So I'll code this up this afternoon. Great to talk with you. See you later.